Nocterra, issue number 14 from Image Comics. So in the last issue, we had Val and the gang show up to Eos, and that's basically where this issue starts off. Well, technically, it doesn't start off there. It starts off with a flashback, like all the other issues do. And I'll be honest, I'm getting kind of tired of these flashbacks. I get kind of why they're there, but at this point in time, it just. We're 14 issues in. I didn't mind the flashbacks in the beginning because it was like we start off in this world that's in disarray and chaos. And then the flashbacks kind of showed us like what happened to lead up to that chaos and where our characters were at before the big PM hit. But now it's just to the point where we're just getting different slice of life moments from these characters. And it's supposed to kind of flesh out a little bit of their backstory, but I feel like we already have enough of who these characters are. Like we know what they are. We know their backstory in a sense. We don't need to keep adding more, especially this one. This one is with M trying to figure out like why his biological parents abandoned him. In the last issue, he found a letter that said that his parents lived nearby. And so in this issue, he goes to meet his parents. And it turns out that it's just his mom. His dad had died a while back. And yeah, his mom lives in this house. It's kind of poor, raggedy. Lights don't stay on all that much. And she kind of tells a story about how she didn't abandon M. But what happened was she needed this medication that she was getting off the streets. I'm sure she's saying medication, but it's probably drugs. And the guy that she would go to get the medication from, her and her husband went inside to get this medication. And while they were there, the drug dealer basically hired some other guy to go and steal their car. And when the car thief realized that M was in the back seat, he abandoned him on the highway. So it wasn't the parents that did it. It was someone that robbed their car. Whether I believe the story or not, I don't know. But we get this told throughout this issue, and like it's spliced in throughout the issue. We cut back and forth between the present day and this flashback. And the flashback ends with like the two are hugging. M is gonna come back and like he wants to reconnect more with his mother, and he promises to help fix the lights. And so the next day he shows up and the house is empty and his mom is gone. So yeah, his mom basically abandoned him again. And that's it. That's it for the flashback, at least for this issue. I get kind of why like this flashback is interwoven within the present day storytelling of these past couple of issues. I just don't care. It's not that I don't care for M. He's a fine character. I just don't care for these flashbacks. At this point in time, like, let's do something new. Let's have like something different rather than the same old formula. Every single issue starts the same. We start with the flashback, and then we start with the present day immediately afterwards. And then interspliced, we have flashbacks. Let's do something different. Let's just stick with the present. The present is where all the good stuff is. The present's where you have the big PM. You have demons, monsters. You have Mad Max style car chase scenes. You have a group of humans trying to survive in this post-apocalyptic wasteland. I don't care about M trying to find his biological parents in the past. I don't care about Val drawing at school and starting to lose her eyesight because it doesn't play any part into the actual story. It's kind of setting a mood, but it's a mood that doesn't really need to be told. Like you can kind of get rid of all that. That's just my personal opinion. Some people like the flashbacks. I just personally don't care. But once we're done with the flashbacks, we have the convoy and they are in Eos, or as the solicitations call it, Eden. Either way, it's basically utopia, or at least as close to utopia, as close to paradise as human civilization is going to get within the situation that they're at. Like with the whole big PM, this is as close to heaven as you're going to get. And it's basically a piece of light, but not regular light, not even necessarily sunlight, but like this lux light. And kind of like how the darkness corrupts, the light does something different. So in this series, as you've seen in other issues, or if you've watched other of my reviews, when you're out in the darkness and you're not in the light, you get corrupted and you end up eventually becoming a shade. And everything becomes a shade, whether it's plants, animals, humans, everything becomes like this like weird, grotesque shade kind of creature. Like they get kind of corrupted. But when you're in this light, the opposite happens. You get blessed, you get purified. You basically become like the next evolution of human beings, and one step closer to reaching the peak of mankind's evolution. And so, yes, these giant light humanoid beings, and they greet the convoy, Val and her group, and Val and her group immediately pull out guns, start shooting. And I was like, all right, that's one way to make your entrance. So yeah, they start blasting. They're shooting all these like radiant birds and stuff. And then the humanoid beings are like, stop, like these things are only trying to like protect us. Like you don't need to shoot anything. Like what's wrong? What's going on? Why are you shooting up the place? And they're basically pissed off, Val and her group, that the people of Eos have this light and they haven't done anything to kind of help the rest of the world. That they've hogged the light to themselves and they haven't shared it. And they said, like, we don't know how, like, we can't. We have no idea how. And Bailey's like, well, you know, I have my grandfather's journal. It has the equation. He wanted to spread the Lux across the earth. Let's try it. And the humanoids are like, well, go ahead. Like, give it a try. And they do. And nothing happens. It doesn't work. And that's when they start running like, oh no, like, was all this traveling, the sacrifices that they made for nothing? And the humanoids explain that the world's greatest scientists have been working here in Eos for generations, and they have never been able to figure out a way to spread the Lux light. All we've been able to do is just contain it here in this location. The darkness basically started before time itself. The universe started in blackness, and then there was an explosion of light. So the Big Bang Theory, basically. And as the explosion of light spread out across the universe, it created planets, and some of those planets had, you know, populations and stuff like that. But as the light was spreading out, darkness was chasing after it. And darkness swallowed up all the lights. And now they think that Earth might be the only place left. Earth might be the only planet where there's still some light. And they believe that in 50 years, Earth will be no more, except for Eos, because we've been able to contain this small bit of Lux light. And if it wasn't for us, and if it wasn't for us containing this small bit, Earth would have already been gone. There would be no civilization left. You are more than welcome to stay here with us, but we can't do anything more. Like, we've tried to spread this light, and we just can't. So the best we can do is just contain this. And of course, the group is pissed off because they don't want that. They want to try to help the rest of the world. So then we got just this battle of different beliefs where the humanoids have already kind of given up, and they already believe that there's no equation that works. And if we keep trying, instead what we're going to end up doing is we're going to end up losing the light. Because when Bailey put in her grandfather's equation, rather than spreading the light across the world, the light in Eos went out very briefly before it came back. And so they're like, well, if we keep doing this, we're going to lose the light altogether. So let's just give up on trying to figure out this equation. Let's just admit the fact that the rest of Earth is doomed. This is the only place that's safe, and you can stay here and live a peaceful life. But Valve and her group are like, no, we're going to keep trying because we want to spread the light. We want to save the world. And so, yeah, you kind of just have this conflict between the two groups. And then a monkey wrench gets thrown in at the end. I'm not going to spoil what that is because it's a good cliffhanger, and I think you should read this issue. I enjoyed it, but I will say that this was a very talk-heavy issue. Whereas previous issues had like some cool action scenes, this is very much what I refer to as the Netflix phase. And what I mean by that is a lot of modern day comics feel less like they're trying to tell a comic book story and more like they're trying to, like the writer's trying to make a pitch for a Netflix series. So rather than having a bunch of crazy over the top action scenes and cool special effects and stuff, like with the comic book, you can do anything. It's literally whatever the artist can draw. So you can have crazy space battles and all this stuff. But when it comes to streaming, obviously the more of that you do, the bigger the budget is. So to entice studios, you obviously want to do something that can be done on a lower budget. So instead what you have is you have a lot of talking. So that's why I call it the Netflix phase, because it feels like it's just you kind of trying to pitch to a streaming service by not really having crazy action or set pieces or anything, but just having a lot of talking, a lot of world building, and just kind of lore dumping. And that's pretty much what this issue is. This issue is just dumping the story's lore onto us, giving an exposition on what EOS, Lux, where it came from, all that stuff. So if you like that, if you like more character-focused issue, world building, expositions on the lore, stuff like that, this issue will be for you. If you're not, if you're like me and you prefer more of like the action stuff, like the whole reason I got into Nocterra was because the series was kind of pitched as Mad Max meets Riddick's Pitch Black, where you had, you know, like Mad Max style battles and stuff, but rather than cars battling other cars, it's cars battling like demons and monsters that attack you in the darkness, and the only way to stay safe is to be in the light. I was like, all right, that's cool. And we started off, even the first few issues, with just like cool Mad Max battle scenes. And then it's like we kind of just went away from that. Now it's just a lot of walking, a lot of talking. I'm kind of getting a little bit tired of that. So yeah, this isn't a terrible issue. I would give it a 6 out of 10. It's a good issue. So my 5 out of 10 is an average issue. This would be a good issue. Not great, but it's not terrible. It's fine. I get that, you know, every once in a while you kind of have to give us more lore and backstory and stuff. But I don't know. Maybe it's just because I've been reading a lot of retro comics. I've been reading a lot of stuff from the Golden, Silver, and Bronze Age. And back then, like, they would tell you an entire story, like an entire arc in one issue. Whereas now, you have to read like 3 or 4 issues to get the same story quantity. So I don't know if it's just that, but it really feels like comics are just dragging things out when it comes to the story. And I don't know, I'm just like, just pick up the pace already. Let's go. Let's get some cool stuff going. So hopefully we get that in the next issue. Like I said, the cliffhanger seems to be setting up that we're going to get like some cool epic battle scene in the next issue. I'm hoping that's the case. I guess we'll find out. But yeah, this was just another talk heavy setup for hopefully a great payoff next issue. Well, I guess we'll see. But there you go. Nocterra, issue number 14. Hope you enjoyed. Hope to see you next time. Take care. Later. So what'd you guys think of that video? I hope you guys enjoyed. If you guys haven't already, please subscribe, hit that bell for a notification, leave a like if you enjoyed the video. And if you didn't enjoy the video, thank you for watching it this far, and I hope the next video is more to your liking. Feel free to check out the playlist that you guys see, and I hope to see you guys next time. Later.